Welcome to another episode of Threads of Enlightenment. And this is so precious to me. I absolutely want to thank our guests because I know that they're coming with things that are very, very expensive time. And you guys have heard me talk about time, that precious commodity by which each and every one of us on this planet is given 24 hours. And how we utilize that 24 hours will say much about who we are and what we believe. The other is the journey. The journey is truly a precious thing, as painful as it is. It created us and it created Kate, who she is today, housed with all the power that she is about to share with us. But much through pain and all of those things, beauty comes forth. And so we want to thank Kate for coming and sharing both with us here at Threads of Enlightenment. Welcome to Threads.
Hello, thank you for having me, Ken. I'm happy to be here.
You're welcome. Tell the folks by all the things by which you are able to serve others through from your journey as a result of it.
Yes. So from a very young child, I've always been wanting to help others and kind of been in that scope of, being the youngest child, always taking care of kind of everyone else because they were older. And so, and wanting to be like them and growing up with people who took care of others inspired me to my path of becoming a teacher, a public health servant, and a confidence coach for women. And through those experiences, that I believe that I'm here to help people, change their course, to empower them, to change their thoughts, what they're thinking, so that they're feeling better about themselves, and that those limiting beliefs or those paradigms that we have developed from our childhood, where we were told we were not good enough, or, we were overweight, or we can't have that, or that's not good, to that we can, and we can shape the rest of our destiny, and we have control over that, and, not to be stuck in fear. And so often we are. I mean, I know as a child and having a brother who got into a very bad car accident and getting diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. I mean, we were living in crisis for a very long time, and a father that was sick and commuting. So living in kind of this chaos of, are you okay? What do you need? Playing that health caregiver really shaped kind of like where I went and why I'm here. And I solely believe in, giving more to others and expecting nothing in return is true. I mean, that golden rule of, treat others like you want to be treated is so important, because so often others, don't understand empathy, and that people are only treating you as good as they know how to, and from their experiences, and that people don't understand that it has nothing to do with them. The way, if someone's mean to you, unfortunately, you may not have caused it. It's some kind of hurt that they're dealing with. So what I like to do is kind of bring people up and empower them and have them learn how to be their best self and stand tall in their inner strength. So finding their self-worth that, they may not have developed when they were younger, and take them on that journey to self-confidence.
That is a noble work. And I think that I'm excited that you're here because one of the issues that a lot of young people have to deal with, and that is their self-confidence. And if they are not able, and I know young and old people deal with this, but the young girls, I've seen my granddaughter and other young girls, and I would have to encourage her. I have 4 granddaughters, so I get a chance to see some things, and the confidence that one has in themselves that can prevent them from being, for a lack of a better word, used. And I hate to put such a crude word out, but once they receive information as to who they are, and they're strong and independent thinking of themselves, critical thinkers, as they say, it prevents much of the pain that will cause because of some decisions that someone that has a low self-esteem would be making. So here you are. One of the things that we do here at Threads, and I know you alluded to some of that while you were telling us the things that you did as a young woman. And you mentioned one of the incident that began to form you as a young and give birth to you as a servant. What was your family like, that unit? And I know you, as I said, you alluded a little to it. Invite us into that living room, if you will.
Sure. So a family of four, Leave It to Beaver type of family, in a very nice town. So, my parents both worked. My mother is very highly educated. My father went back to school and commuted over 2 hours for a job until he got one
Yeah.
closer. My brother and I are 6 years apart. And, so there was a big difference where I was the youngest and only child. So I got to serve both roles, which were
Well,
both interesting, right? And,
yeah,
you get to see things a little bit differently, but you also get mentors at the same time because of the age difference. And
yeah,
so a lot of it was, as I mentioned, focused on maintaining and preventing diseases or treatment for diabetes and stress, as well as, the routines of traveling. We were a very soccer oriented family. So,
yeah,
traveling all over New England, with soccer. So a lot of it was family based. And, we had a lot of great times, a lot of celebrations. But we did have some times of unemployment and some times of sickness. So, um, that was kind of where a lot of probably trauma came from, as well as parents that were fully embedded in work. So a lot of self-acceptance and learning and self-worth had to be learned or developed or sought outwards. And I
yeah,
know a lot of my clients, they are people pleasers. And so we find our worth and our acceptance from others. And I found myself doing that. And I recognized that as I got older. Because a lot of that time, we're left with others to help raise us because our immediate family is out working. So that
yeah.
was a lot of it, a lot of caretakers, a lot of nannies and grandparents watching me while everyone else was kind of doing their thing.
And how did that form you, Kate?
I mean,
Here's
I
this young
had
girl. How did that form you?
I had an amazing nanny who I ended up having a best friend because her child was the same age as me. So I was
Hmm.
lucky enough to have um, kind of an embedded best friend from the age of 4 till now. And,
Wow.
she was younger. So she taught me a lot. And, through that, I experienced fun things. I learned so much about being a female and kind of it felt like an older sister. So it was great. And I had amazing grandparents that took me around. I mean, every day when they picked me up from school as a child, we went to McDonald's. So I can't really complain.
That's like a perfect life for a kid,
I know,
McDonald's
right?
and
So
grandparents. I mean, that's heaven right
I had
there.
it, and we can't complain about my childhood at all. I mean,
Yeah,
I saw what this struggling working class was, and it
yeah,
inspired me to always want to push harder and have professional career development and a stable job, which also
yeah,
kind of leads you to pushing yourself very hard for success.
yeah. I know a lot of people that has family situation like that, and um, they will say to themselves, and I tell people, life is a series of decisions that we make, internal decisions that will propel our lives for years and so forth. And this young child sees the stress that is caused on the family for a lack of employment, and they will make an internal decision that says, that is not going to happen to me. And they become um, the type A personalities that start hunting and have that professional mindset and just focus like you would not believe. And it's usually given birth out of a situation like that. Here you are. You had mentioned earlier, Kate, that your brother within your family, your brother got into an accident and he began to suffer health issues, and you mentioned that it was a part of your family and it caused some stress. As this aspect of your family, you're seeing it, you're experiencing it, your brother, you're seeing the tug back and forth. Um, what did you notice and what did you decide from what you saw?
I noticed the focus on him and his health and the worry about understanding diabetes and health. And so that made me more interested in being aware. So I was very aware of eating and nutrition and exercise. And so that was just part of life, knowing calories, knowing sugar content, knowing everything, which then kind of made me too aware, right? So
Yeah.
that kind of led to what we would call maybe body dysmorphia or having an unhealthy
Yeah.
relationship with food. But not to say the two are correlated, but we know,
Yeah.
we take on stress, we understand, and we go. But that's also part of my story. So, learning how to be healthy with food and your body and relationships. So you have that confidence and you're not seeking it through a certain number, or a certain look. And so, it really made me worry. There was a lot of fear over my brother and his health and his levels, if there would be any more accidents. So a lot of fear with driving at night, a lot of messages of tell me when you're home. So
Yeah.
a lot of my life was kind of living in fear. So that's why a lot of what I do now is how to be fearless. See how they go together?
It always does. That's why I have this thing of going back into the childhood, because it is where we are given birth most of our lives from all of those traumatic experience. They create us, and so I usually love to go there, and then we have to deal with the unraveling of what was created because most of it, as you made mention of it, comes from a fear-based type thing, and we've been programmed from even before we were born. The human being is collecting data before we are born, and so when we walk into this earth, if you will, we have already started the programming, and based on what type of belief system mom and dad have, you will start, if it's fear based, guess what? That individual in that womb is familiar with that energy, and it is a comfort to them. And so they will seek out comfort. And there you go until you realize in your 20s or 30s, whenever that day comes, now all hell breaks loose in your life and you got to fix it. So here you are, you're moving through, you see that your family is dealing with these issues, and you're beginning to be formulated, as you stated, and your mindset as to health and seeing the correlation. Here's this girl in school, and you're not looking at your life, and you need to move on out from the family. And what did you begin to see, Kate, as you were looking forward? Where were you looking at for school? All of those type things as this young woman is looking forward to moving through in her lifestyle.
Great question. So, just looking at being, what did I want to do? I went to school and then switched because it just didn't feel right.
Yeah,
And that was a huge move because I left after a semester. It just wasn't me. So, who's to say what would have happened if I stayed there? But I needed to come home for whatever
yeah.
reason. And I came home and I went to the school I said I would never go to. It was a school that my mother worked at and now I teach at. And because I wanted to be out of the state. So
Yeah,
vice versa happened again. And I really wanted to be successful. I wanted to graduate in 4 years, even after transferring. So I did everything I could. And I made sure that I got into honorary clubs and, graduated with a high GPA and, did an internship, even though I wasn't required to. So always going above and, beyond what I needed to do. And I got a job before I even graduated. But then realizing I also decided I didn't want to work anymore at 25, and I went back to school because I thought I wasn't wanted to be a teacher. And then I was like, nope, don't want to do that. And then I, took the summer off and I waitressed, and I went back into prevention and decided that's what I want to do. And I kind of stayed there and stayed in the public health world. So, I guess, I was able to have the ability to figure out what fit and what didn't fit. And I trusted myself enough to say this wasn't me, and knowing enough when to leave and when to go on, having that confidence, and even being a little, fearful, but knowing that, I would figure it out. Because that's what we did in my family. We figured it out. Anything is possible, we were told. And if it didn't fit, it didn't fit. And, it's not like I didn't try, it just was not me.
Yeah.
So, I always was able and lucky and professionally pushed by my parents to do more and get better if I wanted to. And I still do that even without them knowing, still getting extra certificates and going on. And,
Yeah.
so it's really just like mind over matter. I just wanted to, things would come to me. Oh, I had a failure. So what do I need to do to get better? And it just led me to the next step.
Yeah. I call that, in the religious realm and Christian realm, we call that faith. One goes
Yeah.
and know that the provision will come. And so we step out and move, and others will look into your situation and go, wow, you're nuts, or you're crazy, or something, whatever, because
Yeah,
that's not their path. And so I
exactly.
try to tell people your path is your path. It is not yours, your friend, your grandmother, your mother, your father, nothing. It's nothing like that. I have my boys, and I would tell them, I want you to find that thing. If you're going to be a garbage collector, I used to say to them as a young children, if you love that, the idea in this life is to find your passion and be passionate about it. At that point, it is not work. The sting of working 24 hours has gone once you found your passion, because you will work 25 hours and you still want to work more. So, because you're passionate about it, and everyone's going to look at you and go, aren't you tired? And you're looking at it going, I don't understand what you're talking about. This is giving me more strength. So here you are, and I love your mindset and how your outlook of life. Any and everything is possible. As you're moving through your life, Kate, and any and everything is possible. Um, what brought you to a standstill for a moment, if you will? Because here you are, moving from one arena to another, and your last arena, you're there, and you're sitting there, and you go, I want some more. So, what was that um, situation like that, and what brought you to that place that you said, "Wait a minute, I need to excavate some more stuff."
I forgot who I was. I had a moment of living in fear and forgetting my identity and seeking other people's approval. I had totally just forgot who I was for all those years, all 36 of those years I had lived. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what am I doing? Nothing is working out. I'm not myself. And I needed to level up, and it took a while. I was very head in the sand, couldn't get
Yeah.
out of my own way. And it took literally me at a restaurant leaving after an argument with my husband, slipping down like a banana peel down a flight of stairs. The
Wow.
universe kind of shot me down. I was like,
Yeah.
and I bounced back up, and I was like, something needs to happen. And
Yeah.
that was the moment that I needed to be like, okay, I need to figure this out, like professionally, medically, like what is going on here. And that
Yeah.
launched me into, okay, I need to professionally make a move. I need to, declutter, remove people, that aren't working out for me, reset my mind, and then, go back into my, mindset courses and my life coaching, and then figure out what I want to do next. And then I went, and kind of, professionally got ready to move on to another career, started my own business and kind of relaunched and reinvented myself. And, it was probably a good year that took. Like, it wasn't
Yeah.
easy. It
Yeah.
was, a lot of rolling hills, highs and lows. And we're kind of just like on a nice flat ground right now,
Yeah.
finally. And,
I love
here
that.
we
You're on a
are,
flat ground. We're on a
you
flat
know.
ground now.
So we don't know what's going to happen. We just came down from, we just got up from a very dark ditch.
Yeah.
And, here we are ready to kind of help, see what we can do. I want to kind of ride the wave a little bit and
Yeah.
see what's next.
So here you are, Kate, and I love that. That year, that metaphor of sliding down the stairs, as you stated, when you hit the bottom there at the end of the stairs, uh, what did you see? Um, what were you
Um,
looking at when you look at yourself when you were there, per
I,
se, at the
when
bottom?
I just couldn't, believe I didn't know what happened. And,
Yeah.
I bounced up and ran down the rest of the stairs so no one would ask if I was okay. But I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I need to like, nothing's working out. This is not good. Like, I've literally kind of, you know, come to almost like a corruption of like me just like crumbling down. And
Yeah.
I was the only one that could get out of it. I would ask others, what should I do? Help me do this, or, blame others for not helping me. And then it was like, no, I'm responsible for me. I'm
What
responsible for my
tools?
decisions.
What tools, Kate? Because that is a key space to be in. I tell people, don't be afraid of it. Most of us are when we don't have the tools. We don't know how to
The,
get the hell out of there. But I tell them it's important to realize that the darkness is there for a reason. You need to see the creator that is in you. Until then, you didn't know it existed. Because we were default livers, default decision-making process, all of those things we were engaged in. But in this dark space right there at the bottom of the stairs, if you will, you are about to awake something powerful. What did you do, Kate, to start awaking and reawaking you while you were at your lowest space? And what tools did you begin to bring into your space to help you stand up?
that's a great question. So at my darkest point, I really had to do mind over matter. I was waking up and creating abundance. I was physically making sure and mentally remembering to write down 3 things I was grateful for. I was doing meditations. I was remembering to tell myself that, people are going to do whatever they're going to do. It doesn't matter if I'm there or not. I'm here. I'm going to do the best that I can, and to focus on each moment, each thing, and not get distracted with my thoughts. If I did, I would do a lot of deep breathing. I did a lot of walking. I also, after work would walk. I would read a lot of self-help books. And then, at the end of the day, what really helped for me is if things didn't go right, because I was always people, pleasing and seeking approval. If, I felt like, oh, today wasn't a good day, this person didn't talk to me or whatever, I'd kind of rewrite the story or rewrite the ending so that I would have closure. And then I kept doing that consistently over days. And then, I made sure to kind of eliminate any distractions, anything that wasn't serving me, I wasn't engaging in. And that really is what helped me a lot, as well as journaling out all my feelings. And so it was a way of me kind of getting everything I was thinking out of my head because I was ruminating a lot, at my darkest, kind of thinking in this fear, having nightmares, and I didn't want to be waking up at 3 a.m. anymore. So anything that I could do to get, control of my thoughts, that's what I would do. And, sometimes it was just distracting myself by watching TV or, planning something fun. The beach was always my serenity. So
Yeah.
a lot of times, a lot of beach trips, and just kind of looking for universal signs and praying that things would work out, imagining what I wanted to happen and trying to show up as that person I wanted to be, and kind of believing that the next step was coming and what that would look like.
Wow. I hope you guys are paying attention. And I keep telling people, Kate, that there are those that listen and then there are those that hear. And I hope that you guys heard what Kate had mentioned. So now let me rephrase some of that. She began to become disciplined. Now, when one decides, and I tell people, you're living a circular life because you haven't really made a decision that you want to change where you're at now. When it gets desperate and you make this decision within yourself, no, that's enough. And you are now going to make the changes. When you get to that place, I call that statement your statement of faith because you believe it more than anyone else. And then what happens, because of how we are made and designed, that we will then begin to seek out ways by which we are now going to make the changes. Meditation, one of the most powerful tools you will ever have in your life. Journaling is another one. Again, these are powerful tools. Kate talked about taking breaks when celebrating, going to the beach, getting outside, because this journey, you need to become disciplined as well. It doesn't mean that it is going to be perfect. It means that you're going to be disciplined. The discipline comes in being in a classroom whereby you are now going to bring things into your space, podcasts, books, everything, anything that does not belong there, thoughts, all of those things you're moving aside and you're rebuilding. I hope you guys heard what she says because that's what it takes to move you from where you are today in that dark space to where you ought to be. It is work. Personal growth is not for lazy people. I always tell them, okay, there's no
No.
person that I know that is lazy that is in personal development because it is work. It takes discipline, meaning that you will now have to reprogram your belief system, your thoughts, your actions, your speech, all of those things. And as you become disciplined and maintain it, it will bear fruit. Here you are, after you've gone through some of those things, and you're talking about the classroom that you're in. Uh, Kate, when you begin to notice those changes, the micro changes within yourself, um, what did you begin to see as you're noticing it in your classroom? You're becoming this warrior, if you will. What were those
Yes.
things that you saw and started encouraging you to keep moving?
So, things that I was wishing for came to me. So people, that I have, I stopped engaging with started to engage in me or pay more attention to me, because I stopped caring about them. Um, Opportunities came to me out of the blue that I was, kind of manifesting or writing down that I wanted or I was grateful for. So more positive energy, more, a higher vibration I was able to see things at a wider lens and
Yeah,
than being so kind of stuck in it. So my world opened up instead of being so closed. And that's kind of what got me out of it.
yeah, that is a beautiful thing because you start looking at you see your peripherals, you see all of it. You're getting a wide screen. I love movies that have wide screens because you get to see on the outsides, whereas when it's focused. I used to study film, so that's why I love the wide screen. So here you are, as you begin to notice you, and it's a beautiful thing when one begins to notice the self, um, and you're looking at others noticing you as you're making this transition. Okay, and everything I tell people, this thing, you and I are energy housed within this body. And when we are meditating, when you are being thankful, when you're being grateful, when all of these things, you're lifting that and you're sending out the energy, and you will bring your desired outcome, bring it to you because you are calling it in and it will manifest. So make sure that when you're shifting, make some demands, if you will, and watch it manifest. Don't stay silent. Begin to request things that you're speaking from your awakening self, and it will manifest. As those things began to manifest before you, Kate, how did you now begin to guard your life and guard yourself too? But um, one of the things that we have to do when we are moving forward is to begin, especially uh, people pleasers. What were those um, guardrails that you needed to start putting up to protect yourself and also to help you, those boundaries that those ones that are people pleasers now have to start putting in place to pretty much save their life? What were some of those that you started to notice and you implemented?
I didn't go, walking around to seek approval and say hello to people that I know, wouldn't invite me to sit at the lunch table.
Yeah,
So I made sure that I was, polite enough to, for respect to others and for
yeah,
myself. And, I had to remind myself that some people only cared about themselves because they're dealing with their own internal issues and it had nothing to do with me, the way their behavior is. And to learn to see them through a lens of empathy and send them love to heal them because they were obviously in some sort of struggle to be acting the way that they were. So I kind of also did that in my morning routine and the way I saw them. And then I also made sure I just kind of put myself in a little bit of a bubble and just, did things for me and not really worried about anything else.
yeah. It's a great place to be. I remember when I started doing that and started my journey, and I would take myself out to dates. Um, I would go to some of the most expensive restaurants to eat the best food and to sit there, and people would ask me, "Who's coming? Where's your date? Or are you expecting?" I'm like, "No, it's me." And I had some of the best interactions with others when I began to take care of me, um, going to the movies, going to the park, doing the things that I wanted to do to my form of meditation, if you will, and expressing yourself. I would have conversation with myself. What did you expect? Did you do this? All of these different things. And I learned a great deal, which I still do. I learn a great deal about me every day. And I have come to love him much and continue to be surprised at how deep he is as I began to unravel more and more things as situation comes into our space. So here you are, Kate. You're changing, you're setting up your boundaries. The lane as of becoming a servant. How did you notice that lane and how did you begin to walk in it, if you will?
Um, I think I always walked in it. I just think I finally embraced it.
Yeah.
And I think that um, I just tried to come with a place of not, fighting myself
Hmm.
in a place of being open and allowing and realizing, okay, take a moment, take a breath, what's going on here? What would the best version of me do and act? And that's
Yeah.
kind of how I did it. And that's what I believe I was supposed to do.
Present. I tell people we have to learn to live present, in the present, meaning when you live there, Kate, I notice a few things. That one thing is that we become aware of others' behavior, and that it's their behavior, not mine. How I respond from that will dictate much of my personal growth. Is the most funny thing, because um, I used to respond, and lose it. And I remember one morning, I've told this story before, that I was on my bike, driving. I live on Koh Samui, this island, and I'm driving my bike, and the wind, I'm bald, so I don't have wind in my hair. I'm having the wind on my face. And the thought came to me because I was thinking and meditating on some things that was happening within the family. And the thought came, why are you responding the way you are? And I was like, it is not of you. This is not you. You have to give the person permission to grow. It is theirs. You must be in your present state to hold the space for them to grow. And I remember uh, I was like floored at that conversation that I was having. And once I recognized that, okay, my life changed. I no longer allow anyone's behavior. I ought to respect them and give them the space to grow. It is theirs. And I must also honor me and hold my peace. And it was something that you have to be present in order to do that. And it forces you, people's crazy behavior, Kate, forces you to live present. I don't know what it does.
It's so true.
It really is. And so you have to learn and recognize they're crazy. I'm not on that train, and you have to back off and give yourself some peace. So here you are. You knew that you were a servant. You actually began to serve way back with your brother, and therefore, and when you accepted your position, if you will, as one of a servant, you remember the first person that came into your space outside of your brother, but when you're dealing with this specific revelation that you have, you remember that first individual that came into your space that you began to walk with, and how did they begin to um, grow as you're able to guide them from as a result of your journey.
Yeah, I mean, I remember two things. I remember the first person when I realized everything and the behavior of a narcissist and how it was affecting
Yeah.
me. The first person I contacted with who had a similar experience, and I was like awoke. And I shared, opened up and we reconnected, and that was beautiful. And then when I fully embraced, there were some people that I helped for free
Yeah.
along their health journey, looking to lose weight and to get a better relationship with food. And they were very successful because they were realizing, they had the power to make those choices.
Yeah.
So using, I was in a space to heal others, and I provided them that energy and that information, and they were able to take that on and use it for themselves.
Hey guys, all of you that have been listening to this conversation, I love the way Kate explains it. And it's usually that mindset that we have usually forms from when we are young. Everything is possible. One of my favorite things that I tell people when they ask me about me, I tell them, I am becoming. And they're like, what are you becoming? I'm like, I don't know, but I know it's beautiful. I am becoming. And it gives me space to grow and to learn more about me. And I tell them, one becomes a perpetual investigator of the self once one began their journey of self-discovery. You want to know more about you. I am not satisfied with me. how I am today, tomorrow. I want to grow more. And so I am constantly asking and checking in and excavating feelings and memories and stuff like that so that we can grow. And all of you that are listening to us, I have someone who has had some battles, and we haven't even gone into that, about her relationship with food as well. And I know because of the image that the world gives the young women that they ought to be. And if you look through history, the ought to be, and I've hung out with models and talked with them, and there's a price for that body and that look that they do not tell you guys about. And that price is spent over the toilet um, and all kinds of drugs to maintain and depriving. I mean, you would not believe. It's all a lie. Be you. It is the most attractive thing you have with you. Forget about everything else. Get in touch with you. There is nothing on this planet more attractive than a person who knows who they are. I don't care what you tell me. That to me is beauty, it's power, it's sexy, it is unreachable. So here you are. You are now a person by which people can look at and begin to reach out to as a individual to guide them. We call them coaches and some of them, but you're a guide. Talk to us, invite us to one of those, uh, I would say, people say sessions, but one of those encounters. Okay. It's not a session,
Sure.
it's an encounter that you got a chance and an opportunity to see that individual, get it, if you will.
Yeah, so a lot of my clients come to me looking to overcome fears or doubts or, just looking to increase how they feel about themselves. And a lot of that we do we talk through virtual coaching, and we talk about, what's currently they're thinking, their limiting beliefs, because a lot of the times our fear and how we feel comes from what we're telling ourselves that we think are facts, and that is not necessarily true. And we talk about what we want to be. So what do they want to feel and be, and how do we need to get there? And so a lot of time is spent, kind of with strategies and tools and tips to get over negative thoughts and talk, what to do before, in the middle, or and after a situation that they're afraid of or need to get through or make a move to the next goal. And how do we carry on? So a lot of tools and techniques we go through. So whether it's grounding, morning rituals, night rituals, how to set up your day for success. These are all things that are so important that people don't, do on a normal routine. So it's important that we start there. So, we're preparing for challenging situations, and it could be something as a client coming to me that, doesn't really like speaking at meetings and they have a big presentation. And so we talk about that. And I like to tailor every session and every thing I offer my clients specifically towards them, because everyone has a unique past and a unique inner
Yeah.
child. So we want to go through these fear-inducing events and these underlying beliefs so that we can get to the reality of the situation and
Yeah, I
overcome it.
love that. That is the key to tailor-made for everyone. I tell people the journey is tailor-made for, what is it, 8 billion and change that we have on this planet. And each
Yeah.
one of us are able to, the collective, as far as all the wisdom and the tools that are out there, we pull it in, and that 8 billion people will bring it out, and it'll be all different because of each individual thing. And in my eyes, I think that is the most beautiful thing that could ever happen. It's so intoxicating. So those that are listening to us here at Threads of Enlightenment, I want to honor Kate, and we're going to provide all of her stuff so that you guys can have access to her you need to get into her space, because I have someone that is able and capable of guiding you. Been through some stuff. I always tell people, okay, that's a guide who has been through some stuff. I have to keep it clean because I don't want to say, things that they're telling me to go on YouTube too. So has been through some stuff. The reason why they are familiar with the terrain, because others are so busy, because we understand that they're busy because of work and their family needs and so forth. So they're able to connect with you. And so we want you guys to connect with her so that she can help you put some tools in place to get you to move from A to B so that you can be more effective in your life, more effective about you, effective with your family. And you're welcome to come aboard and join and become servants like she is one. Kate, I want to thank you so much for coming to the Press of Enlightenment.
Thank you.